All right, friends, we're back with another episode of Move the Sticks. DJ is still cozied up in his bed following a long trip back to the West Coast from Phoenix. I mean, my goodness, Bucky, can you imagine how hard that travel must have been for him to not be here at this show?
Rhett, I mean, everybody can, everyone can bounce back. There are not many guys that can play back-to-backs, evidently. And so DJ had a long night at work.
Long night.
Could not answer the bell. Could not answer the bell this morning and say, hey, we're going to get up, but that's okay. Like some guys.
Basically all we can say is, down in San Diego, it's apparently not grit week. It is apparently not grit week in the Jeremiah household. And that's okay. That's okay. DJ will be back. Rhett Lewis, Bucky Brooks here with you after a Monday night football double header. In fact, if you're watching the Manning cast, you even got a little Scott Hansen from RedZone in on the Manning cast there, which was kind of fun to see Scott give his little RedZone twist with the red alerts there as both the games were going on. A lot of fun. And that's where we're going to begin. It is time for the lead block presented by T-Mobile for Business. Football needs a network willing to go the extra yard, and so do you. So go further with T-Mobile for Business. All right, we got to start with, a game that I think we thought was kind of the marquee matchup, one of the marquee matchups really of the week, and it was the Baltimore Ravens and the Tampa Bay Bucks. But boy, oh boy, the Ravens are a wagon. I mean, Lamar Jackson, 5 tutties. We got Derrick Henry going over $160 on the ground. Bucky, they had almost 500 yards of total offense in like 50 plays.
Look, I'm trying not to be a prisoner of the moment. But
all right, that's fine. I'll be.
Look, this is about as good as we've seen this offense look.
Yes.
And the thing is, they're doing it differently, but they're still the same. Meaning, from a cultural standpoint, they still want to be a physical smash mouth team. They still want to run the football, but they're just doing it in such a different style than they did it, I would say, in Greg Roman's heyday with Lamar Jackson playing at an MVP level then. Not as much zone read, but just a very creative and dynamic running game. But I tweeted this in the middle of the game. I don't know if there's a more perfect marriage than Derrick Henry joining the Baltimore Ravens to play the role that he's playing within the scheme that he's playing in for the team and the culture that he's also participating in. I don't know how the rest of the league let that happen, but the Baltimore Ravens are certainly the biggest beneficiaries of a 2-time rushing champion joining their squad while still playing, I guess, in his prime.
I mean, my goodness. 11 yards a pop. Obviously, the 81-yard run had a lot to do with it. But still, 15 carries, $169 on the ground. Lamar had as many touchdown passes as he did incompletions in the game. That was 5. And you know what's kind of interesting? I think, we talked a lot about, Zay Flowers last year, right? Mark Andrews, even though Mark Andrews, had a very quiet, first quarter of the season, really starting to come on the last couple of weeks, 2 touchdowns in this last game. Justice Hill is, I think, a bigger piece of the attack now that Derrick Henry is there in the backfield. And then look, Rashad Bateman has been like the forgotten man on this offense. Let's not forget he was a first-round draft pick for this team. And here he goes for 121 and a touchdown, a 59-yarder. Like this Ravens offense kind of feels like, in a different way, but Bucky, stop me if I'm wrong here. It kind of feels like the Lions in that they have so many different ways that they can beat you. Tight ends, wide outs, running backs, the whole thing.
They are really the complete package on offense, and they're doing it in, I would say, a very creative but an understated way, right? Like everyone gets touches, everyone's getting the ball. It's not one person dominating all of the action. They just find a way to keep all their playmakers engaged and involved, and it makes it very difficult for the defense to deal with because when you start out, you have to have a plan for dealing with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. And every combination of option plays, bootleg plays, whatever it is that they want to do to make you defend both, it starts there. And then they have the right pieces around them with the 2 tight ends. You got a playmaker in Zay Flowers, the emergence of Rashad Bateman as a dependable high-end receiver. I mean, they throw a lot at you, but I think they're going to have to continue to play like this until their defense can get back to playing the style of ball that we're used to seeing from them. But offensively, they're as good as it gets in the National Football League.
And it's so kind of interesting to watch this thing with the Bucks. I mean, they're up 10-0 into the first quarter. You know, at home, you're like, all right, like kind
Jumped on
of
them.
showing
Yeah,
up,
jumped on them. Yeah.
right? You know, Mike Evans catches the 25-yard tutty, and then the Ravens score 34 unanswered points in about 20 minutes of game time. Like on a clock. I mean, it was just an absolute assault at that point with the Ravens. And then like in the fourth quarter, like give it to the Bucks. I mean, they kept kind of coming. They kept coming at them. But this was not as close as the 10-point margin would lead you to believe, I feel like, in this game.
Yeah, and the Bucks, give them credit for fighting back at the end and kind of getting in the mix, but it was a very costly attempt to get back into the game because not only do you lose Mike Evans, but then at the end of the game, I mean, you talk about like the waning moments of the contest.
40 seconds left.
You lose Chris Godwin, and the bad thing about it, like look, people are going at Todd Bowles for why he's in the game and those things, but you have to remember only 53-man roster. Mike Evans goes down, so you don't know how many wide receivers you had activated. Godwin is up, and it's the nightmare scenario for every head coach is to have someone get hurt in garbage time. And so, unfortunately, Chris Godwin suffers what appears to be a very catastrophic injury,
dislocated ankle.
And just all bad, man. It's just look, your heart goes out for Chris Godwin. You kind of feel bad for Todd Bowles for being in that situation. And look, I just wanted a team that was well positioned to be a playoff team to maybe win the division. Where do they go from here without, like, I would say, receiver 1B available while receiver 1A is sitting on the sideline nursing a hamstring?
Yeah. And I think I'll get to that in a second. It is a tough one for Chris Godwin, right? Who may have now played his last game as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. Which makes it all the more difficult because he's got a void. He essentially becomes an unrestricted free agent after this season. And he's had a season-ending injury before, right? And come back strong. And you could see him mouthing on the cart as he's going off to the trainer in the back. He's like, "Okay, back to work now." And that's as he's getting carted off the field. What a great dude. What a great, receiver he has been for this franchise. If that is in fact the end, he has, made an immeasurable impact on that team in the years that he has been there. Hope it's not. Hope he gets to run it back again, just kind of like Mike Evans did. And now, who knows with Mike Evans' hamstring injury, they're going to get an MRI to kind of determine what's going on there and how long he's going to be out. But here's the thing that keeps the Bucs afloat: the NFC South.
Oh, yeah.
There's nobody running away with this division. I mean, you essentially count the Panthers out at this point. The Saints, who knows what's going on there on a 5-game losing streak. It's the Bucs and the Falcons. And the Falcons just lost to Seattle at home. And now it's like, okay, well, the Bucs are 4-3. Like it's not the end of the world. And you got to find a way to kind of set aside the emotion of losing two bona fide leaders of your team, one perhaps for the season, the other for maybe a couple of weeks, and figure out a way to manufacture victories and stay afloat here.
Yeah, man, it's so tough to like say, hey, this is how we're going to go about it. This is what we're going to do. But that's what they have to do. They have to figure out a way to continue to make it happen. And you're right. The NFC South is wide open for them. It's there for them to take it. Defensively, they certainly can make it very messy for everyone that they're competing with, but namely it's the Atlanta Falcons. It'll be tough, but with the trade deadline coming, can they snag a wide receiver, maybe a Mike Williams, to kind of temporarily fill the void at their wide receiver spot? Do they have enough cap space to be able to do that? But I think they have to at least explore the possibilities of adding a wide receiver that can kind of make them whole while their number one guy, Mike Evans, is on the sideline.
Indeed. So we'll kind of keep an eye on how the Bucs move forward here as they deal with injuries to key players. I mean, one thing to keep in mind is that they kind of now have like 3 guys though in the backfield. Rachaad White came on, had a big day through the air. He caught 2 touchdowns from Baker Mayfield. I know one of them was late in that kind of that run up, and then Bucky Irving has been really good as a rookie. Sean Tucker, the second-year player out of Syracuse, we were already talking about last week. So maybe they can kind of morph a little bit offensively into something, that accentuates the guys that are going to be available for them on the field. Let's move to the second game here, Buck. And the second game, of course, featured DJ's Chargers going on the road all the way. I mean, all the way to Phoenix. Glendale, Arizona, to be accurate there, where the Cardinals, came in at 3-3, Chargers, came in at 3-2, and now leave at 3-3 after Arizona comes up with kind of a gritty win, 17-15, win on a last-second field goal from Chad Ryland. It was all field goals for the Chargers. Cameron Dicker hit 5 field goals. They could not get the ball in the end zone. In fact, their best player on offense on this day was Will Dissly. 8 catches, 81 yards. A guy we don't think about a lot in the pass game that way, Buck. So let's first start with the Cardinals and James Conner at a big day. Like, what would you see from that unit and that outfit to get this win?
Look, the Cardinals continue to be like a team that can surprise. They have these ups and downs where one week they play really well, the next week you just don't know what you're getting. But I give Jonathan Gannon a lot of credit as Kyler Murray is rounding into form and really getting back to the Kyler Murray that was Offensive Rookie of the Year, a guy that's played at a Pro Bowl level. This offense can do a few different things. And even though he didn't have a magical performance, it's the threat of him being able to do it as a runner and as a thrower that sets up some things. But James Conner having a 100-yard game, being able to average over 5 yards a carry, the physicality and the toughness that he brings, it was just enough for an offense that really couldn't find its sea legs early, but did just enough to win the game in the end in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. The ups and downs, like they got to find a way to kind of flatten out that bell curve because they do ride the highs and the lows here. And I think that's the sign of a good team is to kind of limit, well, certainly to limit the lows. I mean, like you certainly live with the highs, but they need to find a bit more consistency in how they're kind of going about their business in these games. You look at, the numbers, and it's like it wasn't overly impressive really from anybody. You mentioned, James Conner had maybe the best individual performance, of the day. In fact, he was the guy I think that punched out the football from Tier Tart when he had the interception early in the game. Like Tier Tart picked off Kyler Murray, and then I think it was Conner knocked the ball out. Cardinals recovered, so they avoided having a turnover there early in the game, and they end up getting their first touchdown from Greg Dortch. Again, Marvin Harrison kind of limited in this game, 3 catches, 21 yards, just didn't have a ton of big-time performances. But again, credit to them for figuring out a way to get the win. Kyler Murray, again, with one of those long runs, 44 yards for a score. For the Chargers, I mean, Justin Herbert throws for 349 yards, yet you can't get it into the end zone. What do you make of that?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, some of it is by design in terms of what the Cardinals were doing defensively. I didn't mind conceding it. And the fact that, it's funny when you look at the stat sheet, there's not a notable name that has a big day. So it's kind of by committee that he gets 27 receptions, 349 yards. I mean, that's different. But what always is kind of the litmus test or the telltale for the Chargers will be the running game. 22 carries, only 59 yards. Like that's not enough to do it.
Winning football
the way that they want to get it done, Rhett, that's not going to do it. Averaging 2.7 yards per carry, that is not enough. And when you think about how they're trying to do it to grind it out, the longest run was 11 yards. It's hard to win win games in the National Football League when you don't have an explosive play on the ground. It's hard, and they are not getting the explosive plays. And after you see the success that J.K. Dobbins had early, man, just bottled them up, and they made it a very one-dimensional game for the Chargers, and it's not the dimension that they want to rely on, which is the passing game.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm looking at this, now, only one trip to the red zone, right? Only one trip on 5 scoring possessions, and that one ended at the Arizona 10-yard line. The other possessions end at the Arizona 44, the 41, the 32, the Arizona 46, the Arizona 29, the Arizona 22. Like that Cardinals defense, perhaps by design, as you're talking about, really kind of stiffened up when they got a little bit, closer into their own end. So see if the Chargers can figure out a way to kind of punch through, that ceiling when they get in close and have an opportunity to put the football in the paint. Can't settle for 3 in those situations. The Chargers finish 6 of 14 on third down. And that's not quite winning football. I'd like to see that. No, I mean, that's almost 50%, I guess. I mean, you could have worse. Certainly. I mean, the Cardinals only converted 2 third downs in this game. It still ended up winning. So, I mean, sometimes it's just kind of, it's like who can make a play for us in a big spot, and the Chargers just didn't seem to have it in that one. Okay. So everybody is back in next week. So a chance for both the Chargers and the Bucks to recover as they go into week 8 in the NFL. For the Chargers, it's going to be a matchup at home against the 2-5 Saints. And then for the Bucks, they'll try to get back on track. It's a big one against the Falcons next week. And they'll get the Falcons in Tampa at home. And then for the winners, the Ravens are traveling to Cleveland to battle the Browns. And then for the Cardinals, they'll head down to Miami to take on the Dolphins. Okay, so that right there is a wrap for the lead block presented by T-Mobile for Business. Football needs a network willing to go the extra yard, and so do you. So go further with T-Mobile for Business. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it's time for the Week 7 rookie draft recap and the Week 8 actual draft. That's next. Well, it's a good thing I'm wearing my Hoosiers gear here because we are winning in that regard. Did not win in the rookie draft this week. Bucky continues to dominate. Dominate. You went Drake May and dominated.
I went against myself. That's hard.
Well, you had one on both sides, right? Yeah. You won with both Drake May and Brian Thomas Jr., so you got 3 points there. And then you probably would have won if we had just chosen running backs, because Bucky Irving ends up with 16 fantasy points, but I end up winning that round because I had Brock Bowers, who ended up scoring 19. So he gave me 3 points. DJ, remember, had the first pick. It took Jaden Daniels, so unfortunately got injured. Part of the game. Injuries part of the game. Week to week for Jaden Daniels. Hope he is back. So that didn't work out. He got 1 point. What do we give him a point for?
Participation, kind of like the
I guess.
SAT signing.
I guess.
So we did. We gave him some points to make him,
I'm looking at him as third in everything. So that's the way it works. Right now, Bucky's got the lead, 32 overall points. DJ and I are tied for second at 20, or tied for last, however you want to look at it, with 26 points after week 7. So Nabil is going to fearlessly make picks for DJ here. And I am going to have the second pick. You are going to have the first pick, Bucky. So it's going to go Bucky, me, and then DJ will go back to back with Nabil picking our ace producer in his stead. All right, no buys this week, Bucky. Only injury that we're dealing with is Jaden Daniels, which kind of does throw a wrench in a little bit of our draft strategy here. Where are you going with the first pick?
Red, this is tough, right? Because normally you always want to go chalk when you have the number 1 overall pick. The easy pick would be to say, hey, man, I'm going to take Caleb Williams. I know it's a battle between potential rookies with Jaden Daniels. But then I'm looking at Bo Nix taking on the Carolina Panthers. And I'm just looking at how everyone has had like a lot of fun playing against the Carolina Panthers. And there's a part of me that is pulled in that direction. But I don't want to get too cute, so I'm going to take Caleb Williams. But it was a thought. It was a thought. It was a thought. It was a thought. I was thinking about it. But I can't do it. I can't put a trigger. I just can't.
Okay, so you can do it. All right. Hopefully we get that rookie versus rookie matchup at quarterback with Caleb and the Bears going to Landover, Maryland to battle what we hope is Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. But I can't, in good faith, make that selection. Or I suppose I could. Although, like, what if he gets hit again and he has to go out? Because maybe I could sub one out if Jaden does, in fact, play. I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I want to do that right now. So what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to look at the fact, got the Jags playing the Packers this week. Man,
come on.
Stay away from Brian Thomas Jr. I got the Giants playing Malik Neighbors playing the Steelers this week. That's not great. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the safest pick right now. Oh, man, we got Brock Bowers playing the Chiefs. Oh, these are tough matchups here, guys. Goodness gracious.
That's what it should be. It should be very tough. Should be challenging.
Yeah, I suppose it should. Okay. So with that in mind, I'm gonna go back and take I'm gonna take Malik Neighbors. I feel like there's
Oh,
gonna be something there. And give me Malik Neighbors to get back on track here with the Giants. So
mm.
that means DJ's up with 2 picks. Who you got, Nabil? All right, Nabil's gonna take Brock Bowers with 1. I just think if you're the Chiefs, like that's all you're scared of is Brock Bowers, and he's going to go BTJ. So he's going to go Brock and BTJ, 2 favorites
Oh,
here on the
what are
Move
we
the Sticks
doing?
rookie draft. Yeah,
Whoa! What are we doing? BTJ
yeah.
is supposed to be my guy all the time.
No. You're not going to
Mm,
get it. You're not going to get it. All right. So
mm.
I think what I'm going to do here is probably take a look at the quarterback. So I've got the choice. I've got Drake May against the Jets.
Ooh,
Again, matchups are not great. Or Bo Nix against the Give me Bo Nix against the Panthers, baby. Let me have it. Give me Bo Nix.
I mean, I gave you that pick. I mean, I put
Yeah,
it
you
out there
did.
for you. Like you just, I mean, I should get points for that if it works out.
Yeah. You can get an agent fee on that one. All right, so you got back-to-backers to close it out here, Buck. So you got your quarterback. You need 2 skill position players, 6th and 7th pick of this draft.
Rhett, now I'm really at a loss because you guys took my security blanket.
Yeah.
Um,
What are you gonna do? I mean, let's
this is tough.
take a look here. Let's
I'm
take a
thinking
look.
the 49ers, and I'm thinking Ricky Pearsall.
Wow.
And the reason why I'm thinking pretty Ricky is because I got Deebo Samuel, who doesn't feel well. I have Brandon Ayuk, who is out. I have John Jennings, who's unavailable.
Yeah.
We got to throw it to somebody. So
We do?
Ricky Pearsall, come on down. We got to figure out a way to get him involved. We're just going to take
Let's
a chance
go,
on
Slick Rick. Come on, baby.
So we got Pearsall on deck. And now, I couldn't get, you know what? I could get him. I'm going to do a 2-for-1. I'm going to do Caleb Williams and Roma Dunze.
Going to Rome.
I'm going to say that he targets the guy early and often, and somehow they find a way to get into the paint.
That's interesting.
I don't really have a choice. Not many guys out there. Not a lot of rookies out there putting up big numbers.
No, there isn't.
And then Marvin Harrison Jr. with the concussion. I don't know when he's going to be available.
Well, I mean, like he was, he's back this week, but it just didn't feel like he was all the way back in terms of, he's, healthy, but like involved in the offense. It just didn't feel totally right there. And so what I'm going to do then is, these matchups are tough this week for the rookies.
Yeah. Got to get open. Get open.
You know what I'm thinking here is I'm going to go back to the well with Bucky Irving. So give me Bucky Irving here to continue to be a bigger piece of the Bucs offense. Bucky Irving and the Bucs taking on the Falcons in a big game. Nabil is doing the kind of the slick move here. He's going to say, I'm going to take Jaden Daniels for DJ. And if he doesn't play,
no, you got to make a pick. You don't get to have option 1 and option 2. Come on. What are we doing?
It is tough. It is tough. All right. I think what we're going to do is we're going to give DJ Drake May. We're just going to make an executive decision here, Nabil. You're going to be overruled.
And lobster. You're going to be overruled. And lobster. Yeah,
you can't do that with the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
So you're going to go. DJ gets Drake May. Mark it down. That's where we're at with this one. I appreciate your effort on that one, Nabil, and I know DJ would have appreciated it too. But we're going to make the executive decision because he decided not to show up today. Okay, that's where we're at with that.
Yeah, no steak and lobster.
There it is. No surf and turf today. All right. That's going to do it for us here on this episode of Move the Sticks. But, of course, back with you each and every day this week. So, for Bucky Brooks, I'm Rhett Lewis. And the cozily sleeping Daniel Jeremiah will be back later this week as well. And we'll see you down the road.